Hello everyone, welcome to our Let's Play series of Disco Elysium. This is Colonel RPG as usual, and I'm very happy that you chose to join me today, as we do things. The patch of reeds over there, says our inland empire. It's a great place to hide something, kind of out of the way, being so close to the water. What is this about? Nothing, just a hunch. The hunch passes, leaving you there, but the old buoy bobbing in the water. Or by the old buoy bobbing in the water. The buoy bobs in the water. The number on it says 11. I don't actually know what that would be. I just noticed that at the end of last episode and I decided to go there. We have things to do over here. But also, we have to talk to Gary, the crypto-fascist.
Always a pleasure to see an officer of the law. I mean, officers.
Our composure is as good as it gets. And we are going to fail this check. So, let's fail it. Why is he shifting around like that? Analyze Gary's posture. Oh! That shirt looks very uncomfortable on him, says our composure, with a legendary success. You better say that again. It was a legendary success. It was 20-something%, but still. Look at the buttons, barely keeping that thing together, as if something is ready to rip out from underneath. His massive musculature? It could be. No. He's scrawny. Try again. Don't be smarmy with me, composure. Something worn underneath it, then. Yes, like a piece of ceramic armor. For example, one that makes a clicking sound when the plates meet each other, resembling pearls or marbles stolen from the corpse in the yard near where he lives. I see you're a connoisseur of high-quality combat gear. He freezes and then sighs heavily. I knew you'd figure it out, officer. I'm sorry I didn't tell you at once. He was trying to avoid lying, basically. It's what he's been doing since the beginning. He unbuttons the shirt. You see gleaming white ceramic shine underneath. A thin layer of interlocking plates cover his gaunt torso. I was ashamed of what I did, and I didn't want you to know. We're not detecting falsehood, sire, says our drama. He's gearing up to admit the truth. And our empathy says this shame is surprisingly sincere. Morel shouts from over there, Gary, what's going on? I have not heard Morel's voice, so I can't imitate it, or try to imitate it, because I can't imitate anybody. I'm bad. Later, Morel, I've got apologizing to do. No, you've got explaining to do. The lieutenant's tone is icy. Why did you lie to me, Gary? I don't think he did, but, no, but maybe, actually. I'm gonna ask that. Because I was weak, he says, staring at nothing in particular. I should have told you the moment I saw you, but... The hell, Gary, you in trouble? I'll explain later, he adds. He doesn't muster up the strength to yell. Why did you really put those clothes in the trash? Everyone was picking those pieces off him, and I was watching them do it, and they scattered his clothes all over the yard. Everything was smelling. He looks at his feet. So I went there to take out my trash and started cleaning up. All those rags on the ground, him swinging up there, and... I had a lapse of honor, sir. I thought, he's a foreigner. They all say he wasn't from here. Only the cuirass was left, so I stripped it off of him. It was early in the morning. No one saw me. I took it with me. It was a mistake. Had I known it'd give you guys trouble, I wouldn't have. His lips start quivering. Fuck, he says. Our drama says, we're detecting sincere contrition here, sire. He's not trying to flatter anyone. Kim says, it's okay. He adjusts something down in his notebook. It was a loose end, and you're tying it up now. I'm so fucking sorry I called you yellow up man, he says silently. In this sentence, silent means something else, so it could literally mean anything else. But silent. Say light quietly, maybe. Quietly. That makes more sense, actually, now that I think about it. Sea Light officers commanded the suzerain's navy. Most of them sided with the king when... He shakes his head. They were thoroughly conservative men, he realizes suddenly. Says our rhetoric. It's difficult to say what the lieutenant thinks of this historical apology. His face does not belie emotions. Do you know who killed the hanged man? I always thought it was the Union. Some Union hard-asses lynched him because of the strike, but almost everyone in town knows that. I wish I could tell you more. He shakes his head. This is all he knows. Yep, give me that armor now. And we got the T500 Cuirass, obviously a reference to Fallout's power armor, I believe, which is the T51B. It might also be a reference to the Terminator, which is the T800. I don't know. Anyway, he sighs again, hangs his head, and unbuttons his shirt fully. A cuirass that matches the dead man's boots comes into view. Soon it is in your hands, smelling of his sweat. But so light to hold, says our interfacing, like a bag of cotton. Sure. Are we done here, Gary? Yes, absolutely. I will never do anything like this again. He looks around, relieved of some burden, his mouth still quivering. So Gary, you live nearby, in an apartment in Martinez? Surely do, officer. His eyes narrow slightly. He's wondering where this is going. The apartment that we've been to. Have you found your door open lately? In my home, yes. When I was going to, he turns pale. How did you know? Nothing. Just wanted to ask if your door has been unlocked lately. Now I have. Is this about the Union? Did the big man open the door? No, I did, per his request. So you work for Evract Claire? He realizes what's going on and changes his tone. Officer, please tell him we're good. No. Tell him I'll make it up to him. What have I done? He'll send the muscle after me. The man looks around, whispering. He makes sure no one hears you talk. As he lowers his tone, he hunches his back. I would like to know what this is. What is going on here? Really, I'm gonna say, really, I don't even know what it was about. I just opened the door. Whatever it is, tell him I'm silent as the grave, the man thinks. I was probably talking too loudly, or too loud in the whirling the other night about some theories. He looks around nervously. I won't do it again. If there's anything I can do to assist you, or the Union, just ask, okay? I'll try to help if I can. The weather vane has turned, says Kim. The lieutenant remarks with a smirk. He can't be unturned. I don't know what Kim means by that, but sure. Our empathy says, he clearly liked his squirming. Kim did. He may even have changed his mind about the whole door opening operation. Oh, okay. Well, that's pretty good. We gained a bunch of experience from there, as well as completing some of the quests. And look at that! I can't even scroll in my quests, which is lovely. I love to not be able to scroll, I mean. So we got ourselves a bit of armor. This lowers our empathy, but it does increase our pain threshold and our volition, which is nice. This vitreous enamel cuirass fits snugly and redistributes kinetic energy across its countless white plates. Amazingly, it fits under your coat, and it also makes pretty porcelain sounds when shaken. Interestingly enough, glass, which vitreous means glass, of glass-like qualities, that's what vitreous means. Ceramic isn't glass. It isn't made the same way as glass is. Or rather, it doesn't really matter what the way it's made, but the point is the structural, the sort of molecular structure of glass is very different than the molecular structure of ceramic. The easiest way of you thinking about it is, imagine when you break a ceramic plate, for example, which is something that most of us have access to, easy access to, and when you break a glass, or like a glass or a glass plate or whatever, just glass. And you look at the edges and you see how different they are. The reason why the end result is that glass has very, very sharp edges, or, well, it's kind of complicated because I'm just talking about normal glass. There's other types of glass that changes this a little bit. But glass is effectively solid liquid. And it's sort of funny to think about it like that. But the molecular structure is similar to that of liquid water, for example. Whereas ceramic is just a mixture of solid ingredients, and it can be made out of anything. And these are ceramic. I said before what ceramic armor is made out of, and I don't remember the name of it, but it is a thing. And porcelain is porcelain. I think porcelain is ceramic as well, but I do know that crystal is not glass. Because so for something to crystallize, it has a different molecular structure. And so, for example, it's just basically crystal is not glass. Although I think we call crystal to glass in our sort of, crystal glasses or whatever. I don't know. It's kind of complicated. Sometimes we're not talking about physics. We're talking just about, what popular culture calls certain things.
Here we go. Nice and easy. No way out, little guys. Not out of this jam.
There's a cylinder on the ground in which the man is arranging some netting. It looks like some kind of trap. He notices you.
Who's there? Oh, the police. Hello, officer.
Officers, he says. His self-conscious enthusiasm renders his movements ungainly. He looks like your understanding of a scientist. You must be Morel, the cryptozoologist?
To what do I owe the pleasure?
That's sarcasm, by the way, says our rhetoric. He takes no pleasure from your appearance. Lena sent me. She's been really worried about you and is waiting for you to get back.
Ah, of course. Thank you for passing along the message. That damned waterlock is broken, and we can't go all the way around the 881.
Yeah, the waterlock's been fixed. It was fine when I crossed it.
Oh, good. We should really be getting back. Gaddy could use a hot shower and a warm bed.
Did he say we can go back now?
How did you record this line, Gary? Or not Gary, obviously, the voice actor. Because that clipped. But it was... an easy way... Well, not necessarily an easy way to do it at first, on the first try. For me, it's going to be on the first try, because all this is ad-libbing. But an easy way is just to look away from the microphone and shout from back here and just be like, what are you going on about? Unfortunately, that changes the quality of the sound a lot, and it clearly sounds like I'm talking in a room, which he was, and I am as well, obviously.
Yes, Gaddy, we can go soon. If you see Lena, tell her I won't be long.
Sir, your wife is waiting for you.
I just have to do one more round. See if the Phasmid has taken the bait. Then we're going.
He refastens a bit of netting that has come loose in the wind. I would love to convince him that his entire life is a sham, basically, or a scam, maybe. Although I doubt it. He's not scamming anybody over here, unless maybe like he's getting some money out of Gary or something, which probably, if that were the case, I wouldn't be surprised if it's some sort of meta commentary. Fascism and he's a crypto-fascist, but still. Anyway, historically speaking, fascism and mysticism are more connected than you'd think, and it's really interesting to study that. And it could be a commentary on that. Who knows? Maybe. And of course, I say mysticism because a cryptozoologist. Well, a cryptozoologist doesn't necessarily have to be a mysticist or in any way related to supernatural for sure, I suppose, but more in the sense, not necessarily related to the sort of superstitious. You can be a cryptozoologist that just, maybe doing it for fun, and even though you're not following scientific principles, or all the scientific principles anyway, maybe following some and maybe trying to do your best, because, it's probably fun to be out and about and hunting the Sasquatch in the woods and all that. It's probably cool. But of course, I do believe that this guy is he's more than a Sasquatch. How is it called? Sash squash. I can't believe it has got a it's just sash squash. It's not sash squash. It's sa squash. Right? Anyway, I need to investigate him. Or I need to interrogate him, I should say. I'm looking for a suspect. Have you seen a woman with red hair? Oh, did we know about that? Or did I just forget because of the Ruby name? And I'll remember it when I need to, because she's called Ruby. Of course she has red hair. Anyway, have you seen a woman with red hair who seemed to be on the run? I'm afraid not, officer. I've been busy digging around in the reeds for days, looking for signs of insect activity. I'm less interested in mammalian concerns, to be perfectly honest. The lieutenant takes a short note in his notebook and then gestures for you to proceed. Did you know Gary was hiding the armor, by the way? Hell no, I had no idea. And I'm still cross with him, to be honest. It's not like him. He's got his quirks, but dishonesty or disloyalty are not one of them. Yeah, that sounded about right. Thanks, the man mutters in the distance. He doesn't dare say more. He's still glad his friend stood up for him. Gary is, our empathy says. I'm just going to ask a single question about his thing. Tell me about this phasmid you were looking for. Well, first of all, it's damn difficult to find, which is why we've been knee-deep in the reeds laying traps for it. Why are you so interested in the stick bug? It doesn't seem to be as colorful as some of the other cryptids I've heard about. Nah, he flashes you a sideways smile. Typical rookie assumption. Insects are much more sophisticated creatures than those unversed in zoology give them credit for. Even simply catching a glimpse of the Insulindian phasmid would be the apex of any cryptozoologist's career. But to study it and its defenses, find out how it stayed hidden so long, he shakes his head. How big is it? I'm expecting it to be quite giant. One known species of phasmid called the Megaphasmodea zoenses is about the size of a grown man's forearm. So, he leaves the conclusion up to you. What makes it so difficult to find? Good question. Being a phasmid of the order of Phastamodea, a ghost insect, it disguises it disguises itself as plant matter. In this case, the reeds. He looks around. Awful lot of reeds around, aren't there? And, I suspect, it may also have developed other specialized techniques to protect itself from predators, or scientists in our present case. What sort of specialized techniques is the phasmid using to hide itself? It's my hypothesis that it has evolved certain electrochemical defenses that allow it to interfere with animal perception, impeding pattern recognition, confusing the visual cortex, but I cannot describe how these defenses work, much less how they evolved, without studying a live specimen. Yes, it makes perfect sense, says our Inland Empire. You're beginning to suspect there's something paranatural about this phasmid. Shut up, Inland Empire. What have you discovered about it so far? Very little, I'm sorry to say. No one's ever captured a specimen, so all our information is based on first- and third-hand accounts. Certainly not second-hand, because that would be the one being accounted for. So no one's ever found one? Not yet. He holds an index finger up. That's what makes it a cryptid. The lieutenant interjects with a What? He says, just out of curiosity, if there's no proof of its existence, how do you know it's real? And we have coincidentally, we have a breakthrough imminent in our underground, homosexual underground thingy. Morel says, I know it's real. The cryptozoologist says brusquely enough that even he seems taken aback by it. It's clear that his obsession with the phasmid is driven by something more than pure pursuit of scientific advancement. Yeah, I told you that before from the start. By which I mean, he says, gathering himself, I've heard enough first-hand accounts to believe quite firmly that the Insulindan phasmid is more than mere superstition. What would it be like to grasp and hold onto something you think is next to you, or just behind you, like a trace of vapor you exhaled one spring morning as a child? This is what he's searching for. A specter. A ghost, basically. Yeah, Lena said there has been a sighting of it here in Martinez. Yes, the most recent sighting was by a couple of teenagers along the coast here. That's what brought us to Martinez, specifically. It's the first credible sighting in several decades. Admittedly, it's an unusual location for this species, but with all the sewage runoff upstream, it probably doesn't matter much anymore. Maybe the Insulindan phasmid has, died out? The cryptozoologist shakes his head vigorously. I have to resist the thought. Such an extraordinary creature is doubtlessly highly resistant. After all, it's generally thought to be capable of parthenogenesis, which is an actual... I've heard of this word. Our encyclopedia failed, though. Parthenogenesis? Yes, the females don't need males to reproduce. Makes it easier for a species to survive in adverse conditions. That's not what it means. It means that the specimens changed. Well, I think that one. There's multiple ways where this could work, because there's like the hermaphrodites, like the snails, for example, where they possess. They're not capable of reproducing by themselves. But they do. But there's no distinguishing. There's no like female or male. They have both. I don't remember the names, but the name of the organs. But they have both male and female parts that basically they can reproduce with other snails. But I think parthenogenesis is basically. I think because there's a thing called self-fertilization, and I don't know what animals do or have those. Insects probably would be a common occurrence if I had to guess, which I can't guess because I'm very poorly educated in this. But I think what this is when the egg just splits and it's basically like a tantamount to cloning, because all the genetic material comes from the single parent, which in this case would be the female organ, because it would be the egg. Although because it's an insect, then it still have eggs, right? It's still all the same, I think. This arouses no special feelings in me. And it shouldn't. Nature does not concern herself with ethical propositions. As a scientist, my interest is strictly dispassionate. You're not a scientist. Lena seemed pretty eager for you to return, by the way. And I'm eager to return to her, I assure you. But I can't leave before we're finished with these traps. He looks south, where Lena would be. My wife understands that just as well as anyone. Come on, Morel. We've been soaking out here for days. It's time to go back, says Gary. And leave the traps? Absolutely not, he yells in response. I won't let Lena down. Come on, she wants us back. I'm soaked up to my nuts over here. We'll both catch reed crabs if we don't dry out soon. Won't let Lena down, asks our empathy. It sounds like the cryptozoologist's wife shares a special connection to the phasmid somehow. I thought maybe that she was just invested in it, because I thought she kind of came across as just as invested as him, honestly. In the whole cookie theories, cryptozoologist thingy. I don't know. I didn't know the phasmid was so important to Lena, I'm gonna say. Of course it's important to her. She's seen it. A verified sighting on record, one of only 4 this century, and it's hers. Really? She's sighted the phasmid? She didn't tell me that. Yeah, that's how we first came to know one another, in fact. But that's her story to tell, not mine. He coughs and then continues. Needless to say, you must ask her about the mystery phasmidoid. I don't think that's the word, Inland Empire, but I will. Suffice to say, it's long been our dream to find proof of the Inselind and Phasmid together. I can't abandon course now. Another cough into his fist this time. Well, maybe you could go back to the whirling, warm up, come back to check the traps later. No. The traps need to be monitored on a regular schedule. What would we do if the Phasmid were to starve while we were sipping tea at the hostel? He's dead set on this, says our evolution. I could go for some trap setting, says our interfacing. What if we check the traps for you? He looks at you with obvious surprise. I didn't expect you to take such an interest in our work here, officer. Chaos is my method. It's Cyan. Well, he doesn't know what to say. Be that as it may, I'd really appreciate the help. So where are these traps? There are 4 in total. One is to the south, on this little peninsula, by the boat houses there. He points to the south. It's very near. Another we set in Land's End, to the northeast. It's behind a small sand dune there, on your way to the old radio tower, after the church. The third is set near the canal, where you crossed by a concrete slab. A big thicket of reeds going up the slope, and among them, he gestures to the trap in front of him. You should check at least one of those before returning to this one, since I just said it. This one's more of a technicality, he says, but still better safe and stupid than sorry. That seems like a lot, says Kim. Do you really have to do this for this extracurricular venture? What? Aren't you having fun, Kim? Even relative to examining a week-old corpse, I'm not sure mucking about in the reeds qualifies as fun. But have it your way, detective. If you think it's important, you have been right before, says our esprit de corps. Sure. What do I do if there's a Phasmid in one of the traps? I'm gonna equip all of my Inland Empire things to do this quest, by the way. Bring it to me at once. Just make sure the trap is closed tight. He's not comfortable with the possibility that you'll claim the find, but he's lying about this even to himself, says our drama. What if I encounter the Phasmid in the wild? That's highly unlikely, officer, but in the event you do, he takes out a small white spray can, I'll spray you with a pheromone mixture I developed. Oh no. It's made of musk and research chemicals. The pheromones should attract the insect to you, or at least prevent it from bolting at the sight of you. It's quite potent. It will last you about a week. Sure, lay it on me thick, and I'm gonna present to my armpit. He douses you with the odd-smelling spray, a double helping as you present your other armpit, and then gives you a satisfied nod. It's not so different from the putrefaction of the hanged man, actually, says our sense of smell. The lieutenant wrinkles his nose. I hope you're not buying this. He dispenses it without letting you touch the canister, so it would be precious like holy water. It is precious. A single dose cost me 50 real to develop. Not that I expect you to understand self-financing one's own research. He looks at the lieutenant with disdain and then puts the spray back in his pocket. Well, I'm ready. Let's get to it. Right, says Kim, which means you two can pack up and go back to the whirling. Whatever, our empathy says, whatever he thinks about this detour, it's clear that these men are exhausted and in need of assistance. Finally, someone's talking sense, says Gary. Thanks for your help. Gary and I will start breaking down camp. If you have any more questions, now's the time to ask. We'll be gone once you get to it. If it's more cryptid-related business you want to discuss, you'll have time for that later, too, says our rhetoric. But what if the information is vital on the hunt, says our Inland Empire. I will ask about them, but I'll have to ask them in the next episode because we're out of time for the day. So for right now, I'm Colonel RPG, and this has been Disco Elysium. I really hope you've enjoyed it, and if you did, go ahead and leave a comment, like the video if you want to see the next episode come out sooner rather than later. But above all, thank you so much for watching, and I hope I'll see you next episode. Bye-bye.